Hello, my friends. Welcome back. I am so excited to show off this 1947 Royal Quiet Dlx. So this one is as in pristine a condition as you're going to see in a typewriter that's well over 70 years old. So actually almost 80 years old. Not quite. So this one, even the platen looks amazing. It looks really clean. So it makes me wonder if this was actually ever used, because the exterior is perfect. And when I typed on it, the performance, it was the best performance I'd ever had on one of these typewriters. I mean, it was just, so this was, if it was used, it wasn't used much, and it was kept in pristine condition. So I had to do a video on it, and I will do a tutorial with it as well, so you all can take a look at it. So this is a 1947 Royal Quiet Dlx. This is the year before they did the shell redesign. So this is the last year that this was manufactured, and then it went to a little bit smaller profile, and it was more squared off. But this one, I have an earlier version of this, and I love this model of typewriter. And then in the 50s, they got really big and bulky, you know. But this is the kind of the smaller profile that they had, and then they went to a little squared off one, and it kind of turned into the, I think they kind of did an offshoot, and it became like the companion or something like that. I could be a little bit wrong on that. I am sure somebody will correct me. But then the Quiet Dlx became, you know, then they did the fun colors, and it became a little bit bigger and boxier. But this is my favorite, I think, shell design of the Royal Quiet Dlx is from the 30s and 40s. Absolutely my favorite. But I am just absolutely taken aback by this one at how nearly perfect it is in its condition. And one of the things that I love most about it is that these keys have this perfect bounce back. It just makes it so easy to type on it. And I haven't come across, you know, a lot of our typewriters actually work really well, but I have not come across one of these where the keys literally just bounce right back. And I love it when I come across those, and it's been a while. So, okay. Who is this for? This one, because if you can find one of these that is in excellent condition, either like in our case, we usually professionally service a typewriter. We don't refurbish them. So we just happen to come across one that is in stellar condition. So if you can't find one in stellar condition by someone who just services typewriters, a refurbished one should be able to work as well as this. But this one, I am just absolutely stunned. So if you can find one that's in really excellent condition, this is an excellent one that I would choose for just about anyone, but especially for active writers, because it is so easy on your fingers. It just doesn't take a lot of energy out of your fingers to type. And when you are typing a book or long letters or something like that, that comes in so helpful. You know, your pinky doesn't run out of, it's easy on the pinky, it's easy on your fingers, especially your weak, like these are my weak fingers, so they don't tire out as easier. And the flow, I mean, I was locked and loaded immediately on this typewriter. So, and I love that it's a little bit smaller than some of the other portables that are later, like in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. They just get really big behemoth things. They become these huge things. And whereas the 30s and 40s have the smaller profiles on the portables, I love that. They're just easy to use. They're easy to put on create a writing space, and they don't take up a ton of space. Plus they're easy to carry around. You don't feel like you're schlepping an over 50-pound luggage, you know. These are just easy to take around, and they're handsome, in my opinion. But if you have petite hands, then they also, on the Royal Quiets and the Quiet Deluxe, they're the way the keyboard is lined up and the amount of effort needed to type is very much suitable for smaller hands. So if you have a child, a younger child that is like an old soul, and we come across them all the time. We get emails from parents on a regular basis that say, my child wants a typewriter. I'll suggest, maybe a Smith Corona Galaxy or Classic or something, or an Electra. And they're like, no, they really want this. And they'll show a picture, of like a flat top or, a Sterling flat top or something like that. And I'm like, oh, they're an old soul. But this would be one that would be very much suited to them because they could easily manage it. And it's going to be a stellar typewriter for both experienced and new typers at the same time. Okay, so let me jump in. I'm just going to do a quick tutorial video. Please know that there are multiple tutorial videos suitable to each model of typewriter that we come across with anyway. So that meaning I have more than one on the Royal Quiet Deluxe. It may not be the exact year. I might have some. So go and watch the different tutorial videos, because even though a lot of it's the same, you'll pick up little things that are not. Okay, so I am going to load the paper. If you're brand new and you've never used a Royal Quiet Deluxe, I'm going to assume that. You just put your paper right behind here, the roller, which is called the platen, and you put it there and you turn it. You can see I was doing a little bit of typing already. If you need to adjust it to line it up, you have your paper release right here on the right side. And I like to come up to the middle and make sure they're lining up, and this looks pretty good. It's just a hair off, but I think that's more because I folded the paper uneven. And then your margins. So the one thing I do not like about these later Royal Quiet Deluxes, and like mine is from 38 or 39 or something, and it doesn't have the magic margins. So when they brought in the magic margins, I'm just not a fan. To me, it's all marketing and it's absolutely useless. But and on this one, since it's like the early versions of the magic margin, they only have it on the left side, which makes no sense to me. But anyway, put your line up your typewriter and your paper where you want it, and then just pop it forward. You'll hear it click, and so now it's set. Okay, and then you come over here to the left side, and mine is set very close to that, which is why you hear the bell, and you have to pop open the top and then, adjust your margins there and then clasp it back down. Now, while we're talking about the carriage, if you flip your typewriter up, you'll see back here your tabs, and you just press and drag to adjust your tab settings, okay? And to move the carriage, since we're on the carriage, there's a lever right here on the right side, and it's right behind the roller handle and also on the left. Doesn't matter which one you use. And before you start typing, make sure you move anything. I happen to have this little lantern here. So coffee cups or a jar holding pens or pencils or whatever. Just make sure there's nothing around it, because boop, you will hit it. I have broken a few mugs, by the way. And anyway, so your carriage release, it will pull to the left. If your carriage is loose, that means your drawband is broken and you do need to take it to a proper repair person. So you've set your margins. I've showed you the paper release. I've showed you how to move the carriage. The line selector is going to be, yep, that one. So it's going to be the outermost smaller. There's going to be two levers, and the outermost is the one that changes whether you're going to advance one line or two lines. So right now it's on one. Now it's on double spacing, line spacing. So the other little lever up here, what it does is it releases the platen, and you can use it for variable spacing. If you're doing some maintenance work, you know what that's for too. But variable spacing is, you're turning your handle and it's clicking each line, and you're like, I kind of want to get it right in between. And there's two ways to do that. One, there's actually a button right here on the handle Let me lift up the typewriter here. Hold on. It's kind of hard with one hand. There is a button right here. It's only on the left side. And what that does, so you're typing, but you're like, I want this in like in between, and you press on it and then it releases that and you can adjust it exactly where you want. The other way is to pull that forward. You can adjust it where you want it, but make sure you re-engage, okay? I'm going to move the carriage all the way to the left so that it doesn't scratch our beautiful finish. And then to open the top, you just put your hand right here in the middle, give it a little tug, and open that up. And inside is your typing basket, and you've got your ribbons. And this uses a universal ribbon, 2-color. Black is on top, red is on bottom. You can get other colors. I've seen them out there on like Etsy and eBay. So it doesn't matter what colors you have, but just know that there's 2 colors. And if you want it to line up with the settings on your ribbon settings down here, make sure the black is on the top and red is on the bottom. I do have some ribbon installation videos. Please check out that playlist. Even if I don't have the exact model for you, you're going to get the idea of how to load these ribbons. And one thing I will say is it's messy and it can be frustrating, but make sure you look for where all the guides are. There's always a guide right next to the spool, so make sure your ribbon's threaded through that. And then you're going to have to here, I'll hold it up close so you can kind of see how Rob threaded it through, so you can get an idea and compare it if you've got one. Screenshot it if you need to, pause it, whatever, so you can just see how it's been threaded. And like I said, go check out those other videos showing where we actually change out the ribbon. Make sure the ribbon goes up and around this way, up and around. And then also to reverse the direction, right now the ribbon is going this way. To reverse the direction manually, you just click here, and now it's going to go this way. That ribbon holds a ton of ink, and so you're going to want to go back and forth multiple times to use up all of that ink. So you don't need to change out the ribbon once you get to the end. You reverse it multiple times before you'll need to change it out. Okay, this is your touch control selector right here. What this means is it adjusts the tension on the type bars. And so it'll hit harder or lighter, however you want. I honestly don't ever notice a difference, but I guess those who become very sensitive in their typing, this is how, this is kind of like fine adjustment if you ask me, but because you can adjust tension with your fingers. Like my husband has a very heavy hand when he types. I have a very light hand. And, but anyway, you can kind of experiment with your typewriter to see what feels best for you. The final lever over on the right side is the color selector. So right now it's on the black, flip it over, that's red. And if you go all the way to the right, you have to actually press down and go over, and you'll see a white dot. That is a stencil setting, and it will not type. So, and I'll explain why. You'll see it was like, well, it's kind of typing. Well, that's because there's some leftover ink on that type bar. But what's not happening is, this is called a ribbon vibrator, where the ribbon is threaded through. When you have it on that white setting, the vibrator stays down and the type bars strictly engage. This comes in handy if, let's say, you have correction tape, where you hold the tape down and you hit the bar, and then it kind of corrects your mistakes. But if you're typing and you have some issues and you're like, why is this really faint and not typing? 2 things to check. One, check to make sure you don't need to reverse the direction of your ribbon. That does about 90% of it. And the other one is, make sure that this hasn't gotten bumped over to the white setting, which does happen. So just wanted to point that out to you. Okay, so right now it's on black. Okay, down here we have our backspace. Backspace is not a delete button, it's just backspacing. So if you make a mistake, and you will make a mistake, and I just say embrace your mistakes, You can type over it, you can X through it, you can dash through it, but you just backspace here, okay? And then we have a margin release. So I am going to go here and we're going to type out. And that bell is saying, hey, you're at the end of your margin. It's going to stop here in a second. There, it stopped. But let's say I'm in the middle of my word. I've got 2 letters left. So I hit margin release, finish my word, and now I can go to the next line. Down here is your shift button. The square is the shift. The lock means that's your caps lock. And to release it, just press down on the shift to release that. And there you have it. So, and also this is called a floating shift. There's 2 kinds of shifts. When you hit shift, you'll notice that the escapement, this is the escapement or the typing basket, that is moving. It is much lighter and easier on your pinky than in older models. When you would hit shift, the carriage would go up and down. So also keep that in mind when you're shopping for a typewriter, because that shift, when you're lifting up the carriage, it really is quite heavy on the pinky. All right, so that is everything about the Royal Quiet Dlx. I hope you found this helpful. Thanks so much for watching, and happy typing.